Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and welcome to Conversations with Grandma Polly. This is season 4, episode 10. Our goal is to showcase individuals who are making a positive impact in our communities. Through engaging interviews and thought provoking conversations, we hope to inspire and empower our listeners to get involved and make a difference. Did you know overcoming addiction is a journey and every journey is unique? However, with the right support and resources, recovery is possible. I want you to put a pin right there and we'll be right back. Hello, good evening. Thank you guys for joining us. We're glad to have you here with us tonight. And if you would just take a moment, just 1 second of your time, and please share this video because we have two powerful people here today. And it's a message that needs to be put out there and share it with your friends. I want you guys to hold on a second again while we introduce Queen Patricia Lennon Cox of the Browns Ferry Gullah tribe of rural Georgetown, South Carolina. Let's introduce Patricia and give her.
Tonight's guest is Tribal Queen Patricia Lennon Cox, the Queen of the Browns Ferry Gullah Tribe, rural Georgetown County, South Carolina organization. Her purpose as the Tribal Queen is to remember our ancestors and their great contributions to us in the Brown Ferry Gullah territory, providing the awareness and understanding that we are standing on their shoulders, their blood, sweat, tears, and prayers in this very moment. Queen Patricia Lennon is a storyteller, family historian, and a philanthropist. To learn more about Tribal Queen Patricia Lennon Cox's journey and how to support her vision, visit her on Facebook at Queen Patricia Lennon Cox. So without further ado, conversations with Grandma Polly, friends, and followers, let's give a warm welcome to our very special guest, Tribal Queen Patricia Lennon Cox.
Ah, that beat is on point. I'm feeling it. Did you feel that, Queen Patricia?
All
I am
right.
feeling that beat. The beat is
How you
beautiful.
doing?
You are beautiful. You're a wonderful person, y'all. Let's give Patricia a hand. Where do I start? Wow, it's amazing. First of all, Patricia, I would love to thank you. You know, I have to give you a great big thanks because you've been supporting me from the beginning of this. You purchased all my books. You showed up at Howard Gym in Georgetown, South Carolina, with the beautiful blue on. You know, you were rocking that, girl. Blue, my favorite color. I love it.
Right.
And you know, when you reached out to me after I got back home, I'm a crybaby. You made me cry again. But
Oh,
I'm a crybaby. But I'm gonna let you tell me a little bit about yourself. Then we're gonna jump into the conversation because I want people to know who you are.
all right. I am Patricia Lennon Cox. I am the daughter of Norman Lennon Sr. from the Dunbar community and the Bronx Ferry community of rural Georgetown, South Carolina. And also my mom, she is the late Maggie Myers Lennon of Oatland and the Bronx Ferry Gullah tribe, Gullah community. And I am the great granddaughter of Chief August Lennon, who was born in 1845, and I am his lineage through research why I am tribal queen. My purpose is to also, what Miss Renee said, Mrs. Brown said, to bring awareness of our ancestors, and we are standing on their shoulders, as well as, among other things, just be a visionary and make a difference in all our lives, everyone's lives that is around me, that is in my tribe and beyond. And I would also like to give a big, great shout out to Mrs. Renee Brown, founder of the Big Rig Kids organization, renowned author of several books, educational books for children. I am very, yay, yay, yay. And all the love that she is actively doing right now, and has had been doing it for years. The love that she gave to children, especially the encouragement. uh it's a long list, so y'all know. Hey, congratulations on your proclamation from county council, also Georgetown County Council. It's said it all. Okay, so therefore, I would like to myself, along with the Browns Ferry Gullah Tribe organization, and my board members, our chairperson, Dr. Rena Bell Rice Giles, and all of us here would like to recognize you, Mrs. Brown, an award of recognition, and I am going to read it to you. Okay? In recognition of your outstanding contributions for the advancement of children in the community, local, and abroad. The Browns Ferry Gullah Tribe organization present this award to Mrs. Renee Brown, founder of the Big Rig Kids organization and renowned author of several educational children's books. Therefore, we at the Browns Ferry Gullah Tribe organization recognize you as our hometown she wrote of the Browns Ferry community, rural Georgetown County, South Carolina, signed by Tribal Queen Patricia on April 11th, 2023. I present this to you from all of us from the Browns Ferry Gullah Tribe community, rural Georgetown County, South Carolina. Great job you're
Aww.
doing. Yes, great job, great
Oh my God.
job. Yes. We love you.
This,
We love you and we thank you.
this, this is so sweet. I am honored. I mean, for me, I do what I do because I love the children and I love my elderly people and I just love people. And when you called me and told me that you wanted to do this, I mean, it was just that warm, fuzzy kind of feeling, because what I do was not to be seen. But when someone sees the works that's being done and they want to appreciate you for it, it lets me know that what I'm doing is not in vain and it's not of myself. And I know you put the certificate out there and you're not a person who brag about the things that you do, but I also have to say, I want to thank you and your organization for the monetary donation that you guys have made to further our cause. And it is truly appreciated. Grandma used to say, if I had 1,000 towns, I would thank you with each and every one of them. And I really do appreciate the kindness of you and your organization, Tricia. And you keep doing what you're doing because you're doing awesome work. And I appreciate it. And it's just awesome. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. And, you have expressed to me your feelings of the Big Greek Kids. And you have purchased every book that I have in the series. And I know you told me your grandchildren have been reading these books. So can you just tell me a little bit about that so I can get all warm and fuzzy again? That's the part I like.
All right. Well, my grandchildren, they're not here, but I mail it to them, I get it, I'll mail it to them. And on FaceTime or Meet, Google Meet, I'll have them to read it and discuss it to me. They're in, Atlanta, Georgia. They're not here. They're two 5-year-olds.
Okay.
Corey, yeah, Corey and Lloyd Anthony, those two. Um, they're 5 years old and they can read and they love the books and they are learning so much from it. And we have our little sessions, via Facebook, FaceTime,
Uh
and
huh.
I let them know. Yes, and I let them know that it is family who wrote this book. Y'all relative, y'all cousin Renee, Mrs. Renee Brown. It's not a stranger. And they're so excited about that. Really, Grandma? I'm like, yes. So I'm sure one day I will get them we'll get together, okay? So I can meet you in person.
Yes.
Yep, and you can
That
meet them.
is
So yeah.
looking forward to it because we have some things that's coming up. And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk about that next week when we come back because we're building some things and it's coming together and we're loving it. And it's something that there's a part where even the 5 year olds are going to be able to fit into that. And I
Wow.
can't wait to meet them. And I just want to say thank you again. But before you leave, we
Mm-hmm.
have something that we want to run. We want you to see it because we want others to see it. We're so glad that you was there with us when we were touring South Carolina. We had so much fun. And for me, just
Yeah.
simply being in the school brought so much joy. And what's
Absolutely.
happening now, this commercial we're about to play was sponsored by Sherman Academy, and it'll show you why we're excited and other people are excited. And check it out because we have more commercials that's being created from those locations that we have visited. But this one is from Sherman Academy, and I want you to hang in there because I want everybody to see what we're talking about.
I am Kate. I am Loki. I am Sasha. I am Corey. I am Maria. I am Sapphire. I am Victor. I am Maria. I am Loki. I am Lucy. You am Corey. I am Sapphire. I am Sapphire. I am Corey. Seven Academy.
And Queen Patricia,
Yay!
this is where I get my joy with these
Yay!
babies.
Yes.
That's where I get my joy. And I just thank you and I appreciate you and your organization once again. Thank you so, so much. And I'm going to let you make your closing remark. And, we'll be talking soon off later.
Okay, I would like to say, yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me. The organization, Gullah Tribe, we are tribal people, so therefore everyone, Dunbar, Oakland, Lance Creek, Browns Ferry, who are stable names from our ancestors, we all are the Gullah tribe. There is no exception. All inclusion, no exclusion. We all are the Gullah people, the tribal people, okay? And we all are sisters and brothers. And, it's a hope, it's a community thing, not only a small organization, but everyone, every single one whose ancestors are connected. And they all are, according to my research in the Browns Ferry community. And I would like them to know that I love them. I may not be I love them, and I'm always praying for them, and I'm always working behind the scene doing the greatest thing that I can by the help of God. I may not broadcast it, but God knows it, and it's making a difference. And that's my mission, is to make things better without magnifying myself. Let God get the glory and the people be blessed. And thank you again, my beautiful cousin Renee, Mrs. Renee Brown, founder of the Big Rig Kids organization and renowned author. Thank you. God bless you. Love you. Much peace, much love, much blessings, and agape, 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 and continue to let the Lord use you as He has been doing for many, many more years to come.
Peace to you, my sister, my cousin, Queen Patricia. We love you. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. And
Absolutely.
you take care, my sister, and keep doing what you're doing. And we're going to get ready for the introduction of our next guest.
Yes.
The next guy, this guy that I'm about to introduce to you is very dear to my heart. Um, there is so much I could say about him, but I'm just going to let y'all introduce him. But I want to present to you guys none other than our big brother Wayne. And yes, he is our brother because I know someone's going to ask that. He's the big brother to Wayne, to me and Kenny. And Wayne is here tonight to tell his story. So let's introduce Mr. Wayne Thompson.
Tonight's guest, Wayne Thompson, was born in 1961 in Margarita, Florida, on a former slave plantation. Wayne attended elementary and high school in Rochester, New York, and received his diploma after returning to Baker County High in 1979. Wayne's drug use started at the age of 18 years old. Wayne's now been clean for 17 years, 11 months, and 13 days. His personal experience with addiction led him to care for others with the same challenges, and he is credited with management of 6 halfway houses. Wayne has worked with the Sarasota Memorial Hospital, Manatee County Probation Parole Department, and speaks publicly at rehabilitation centers around the Manatee County area. Wayne is the proud father of 7 children with his amazing wife, Maria, of 11 years. So, invite a friend who has conquered drug addiction or may need an encouraging word to make their way to a recovery to hear Wayne's inspiring story. So without further ado, conversations with Grandma Polly, friends, and followers, let's give a warm welcome to our very special guest, Mr. Wayne Thompson.
Wayne. It has been a long time coming, my brother. And I was so excited when I heard that you was ready to come on and tell your story because you have one heck of a story. And before we go any farther, y'all come on and give my brother another hand because he's been through it, he survived it, and he's doing the darn thing. But just go put it like that. So Wayne, come on in here and jump on this conversation.
Right, all right. Um, did I hear my theme music?
Oh, what what is your theme
That's
music?
just a little inside joke.
Yeah, but tell me
I
what your theme
I was
music is
teasing
so they'll know.
I was teasing Grandma Polly earlier about this old song of the old classic "Looking for the Perfect Beat" because
There you
that
go.
accurately describes my life. All my life, I've been looking for that perfect beat, and one day I finally found it. Um, from time to time, you guys may see me glance off to the side. I have some notes over here about key things that I really wanna share with you. Um, yeah, they pretty much gave the background information on me. You know, the birth, a little bit of the education, and a couple of the accomplishments that I've been blessed to achieve. However, the biggest accomplishment that I've been able to achieve has been to become substance free May 31st, 2005. And the reason why I say May 31st is actually that was my last run, and I didn't really become coherent until sometime, maybe a couple weeks after the substance left my system. And so that's why I say that date because I live a life of rigorous honesty, and I didn't want to celebrate something that wasn't accurate. So the 31st is the last day of May, so that's my anniversary. I now have 17 years clean, and the 31st of this year I'll have 18 years clean. So that being said, let me just share a few things with you. Um,
Can I jump in there for a second?
yeah,
Um, Congratulations on being clean that long, my brother. I mean, we have to celebrate that, you know. That is great. And it's so funny that you've been clean all this time. And in the introduction, you heard what was said, right? You're from Margaretta, Florida.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
But she said Margarita, Florida.
oh yeah.
So, I wanted to kind of correct that. There's a difference between Margaretta and Margarita.
That's right.
You're
Well, we're
not
gonna get
drinking
into that.
margaritas anymore.
Yeah.
And I know that you're going into your story, and I know you had a conversation with me this morning. The only thing I'm going to ask is, as you describe these stories, do not call names, please.
Okay. Okay. We
Yes.
got that. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of our program.
Yes.
All right.
So I'm giving it back to you. Go ahead and tell your story, buddy.
All right. All right. All right. Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about Margareta for a minute. I mean, how ironic is it to be born in the 60s on a former slavery plantation? A place that was named after the slave master's wife. And I didn't realize that until I did some research. And you'd be amazed at the little interesting pieces of data you can uncover when you do just a little bit of research, a little page turning. So if you haven't researched your past, I encourage anyone out there that's listening to this, do a little research and find out a little bit about yourself. But I'll get
Right.
into my road to recovery, as I'll say. You know, God bless us with this brain to retain memories. And I hope that most of you out there have a bunch of happy memories. But my first memory is a fear-driven memory. It's a memory of my biological parents actually having an altercation. And me as a little one, maybe I was two or three, I can't remember the exact name, trying to run and get away from that situation. My uh not far from us. So I was trying to make my way there because I felt that was a safe place to be. Now that's my first memory is a fearful memory, and that kind of progressed my journey in life. Um, I'm a big guy, and most of my life I've been kind of a little bigger than average. So, and I have a deep voice, so I've always been able to project an aggressive facade on the outside, and on the inside, I could be filled with fear, and you would never know, because people like me, we're chameleons. We can be anything that we need to be to fit in and survive, whatever the situation may be. My biological parents divorced, and I ended up in Rochester, New York. And unfortunately, my parents had to work, and sometimes they both had two jobs. And we were in the care of a babysitter. And I can recall being 8 years old and maybe being dropped off at the babysitter maybe 5 or 6 in the morning. And I remember that the oldest daughter of the babysitter, she started molesting me. And
Wow.
at first, I didn't understand what was going on. And then she threatened that if I told anyone, that she was going to kill me. I believe that's the essence. And in my 8-year-old mind, there was just more fear. So that's why I say I
Yeah.
live a fear driven life. And just to backtrack a little bit, when my biological parents divorced, my dad was given custody of me and my sister. I think that's historically accurate. And my biological mother was not in my life for long, extended periods of time. And I began to build up a resentment towards her. And then with the molestation, I began to kind of resent females in general, because as far as I could see, everything that was associated with them. So anyway, yeah, I attended school, and I never really fit in. I was a very good student, very smart, A-B student, but I didn't want to be that. Um, because I didn't feel like that was a place for me. So, I was kind of athletic. I was pretty good in sports, but I didn't really fit in there. I wasn't what you call the superstar athlete. So I didn't really fit in there. And I tried to be cool. I wasn't really cool. And, growing up in our household, while it was strictly religious, I don't feel like I ever really developed an identity. I mean, I was taught how to work, how to dress, how to take care of my bodily needs and things like that, and how to provide for myself. But I don't know if I ever really learned how to love myself. And because of the secret feelings inside about the molestation, the feelings about the biological, um, what I like to call is a black hole. If you can picture a black hole in deep space, no light, nothing's ever able to escape a black hole. Once the black hole starts to suck you in, there's no escape. So inside of Wayne, I felt like there was a black hole, and there was nothing that existed inside me. There were no feelings, no genuine feelings. There were trumped up, maybe made up feelings. And I didn't learn how to love myself. And if you're a person who doesn't know how to love themselves, then there really are no ground rules. You pretty much will participate in almost anything, and you will allow almost anything to be done to you, you know. And we keep those things secret. Well, what happened is throughout the years, having no identity and no self love, I eventually stumbled onto some things, um, some liquid substances at first, and then some other substances that I thought made me the person that I always dreamed I could be. I could talk to the girls, I could dance a little better. I wasn't as shy, and I didn't isolate as much. So I was like, I'm gonna do this thing forever because I finally found my super energy power pill, we'll say.
Mm.
But one thing I didn't know is the thing that makes you laugh will make you cry. And I loved the drugs until they couldn't love me back. Um, so at 18, I started using the liquid substance regularly. There was turmoil at home. When I was 17, I made a decision to leave the home that I grew up in. And I went on my journey out into the world, and I pretty much never really lived in that household anymore from that point to now. I lived there periodically, but I just ventured out into the world. And what happened was a person not having the ability to love themselves, not having the ability to make good, positive, solid decisions consistently was turned loose into the world. And what happened was, of course, disaster. I made a bunch of mistakes. Um, I was never physically abusive to women, but I would say I was verbally abusive to women, and I was manipulative. And most of the time, if a woman got too close to me, I would try to put some distance between us because secretly I didn't feel like I was worthy of love. And I didn't think that because of the abandonment of the biological, I didn't think that any woman would really want to be with me for an extended period of time. I mean, who wanted to be with someone that their own mother didn't want?
Wow,
So what
stop right
happened
there.
was
Stop right there for a
predictable.
second, Wayne. Stop right there for a second.
Mhm.
Because you have shared a lot just in that short period of time. And what you're speaking, so many people have experienced that. They may not have went through it step by step by step by step as to what you're describing, but I think many of us can relate to that black hole. And, I'm glad you brought that to the forefront and said that because, when I hear you and I see the homeless people on the streets, or you see the women out there involved
Uh-huh.
in prostitution, or you see the men drugs. I saw a lot of that in trucking where you had the male and the female prostitutes. And then, you had the drug addicts and everything else. And so many times we become so judgmental of these people who are stuck in that black hole. But no child comes in this world saying that I want to be a drug addict, I want to be a prostitute. If you know
Exactly.
that person and that person was willing to share their story, a lot of times we want to trim the tree, or we want to prune the tree, or we want to cut the root down to where there is a stump, but it's still not doing anything because we haven't gotten to the roots of the problem. And to hear you talk and to hear you speak, you're really going back to the you're being honest with yourself about what the roots were that got you there. And a lot of times being a child, that's why I write the books that I do. And this is why I have the conversations with these children. Because a lot of times being a child, and especially during the time we were growing up, we didn't have a voice, we didn't have a thought, and we didn't have an opinion. And many people are suffering today because of just things that has happened in the past. Miss Felicia says, Wayne, your honesty is so refreshing. I hope that others will share. Yeah, guys, y'all please share this video. Invite a friend to come and watch it. We don't ever take them down. If they can't see it on Facebook, have them go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Because every person, I feel has been in at least one black hole in their life. It may not have been drugs. It may not have been alcohol. It may not
Mhm.
have been sex or whatever, but an addiction is an addiction, and people have so many different types of addiction. But I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna let you go ahead. I just had to jump in there, brother, because I'm feeling you.
Mhm. Well, actually, I'm glad you jumped in because you just reminded me of something of a previous conversation we had. You know what? Um, some people have asked me in the past, "Well, Wayne, why do you so openly tell people all this stuff about you?" Well, I can only keep what I have by giving it away. And giving it away means, you know what, you cannot live the life that I live without brutal self honesty. And I don't mean honesty where if Grandma Polly drops her purse that I don't pick it up and take the money out, or if they give me too much change at the grocery store. I'm talking about that deep down self honesty that you have to have if you want to beat this disease. See, I tell Wayne the truth on a daily basis. You know what I tell you, and other people know what I tell you, but only I know the truth. No matter what Wayne tells someone else, Wayne knows the truth about Wayne. And without me being honest and forthright with myself, this is not possible. Now, the reason why I'm so free with this information is because I'm not a slave of my past anymore. See, secrets live in the dark and die in the light. And so I
He need
tell
a
it
hand for
because,
that.
it is what it is. It took all that. It took all that to create the person you see. And I'm just going to give some people a break by just sharing something with you. A lot of people like to sit back, and it takes one to know one. If you're not an addict, then you may not be able to relate to what I'm saying. Like Grandma Polly, my sister Renee, aka Sheridan, said, addicts aren't just born; they're created. Just like the black
Mm-hmm.
hole is created by a lot of things being pulled out. The self-esteem is pulled out. The ability to love yourself is pulled out. Your identity, you're prevented from developing one from various different forms of abuse, whether it's mental, sexual, or physical. No one wakes up and say, I want to be a bum laying on a bench in Central Park in New York City. That's my goal. Most of the time, as young folks, we want to become doctors, lawyers, athletes, entertainers, or what have you. What happens though is that dream is stolen. Most you could probably stop any garden variety addict on the street, and if they wanted to be honest with you, they could tell you some stories that would twist your tail. Trust me, there's some things folks didn't just wind up on the corner. Just but it took a lot. A lot had to go into that pot. A lot of things had to go into that stew to create the person that you see. This disease just happens to manifest itself in a way that's so visible to society. It's a antisocial, unsocietally acceptable disease because you can visually see the damage and you can see the behavior and the actions of the person. But this disease of obsession and compulsion is no different than the food addict, the sex addict, the gambling fiend. I mean, the habitual liar. I mean, this is a disease of obsession and compulsion. Once I engage in it, I'm unable to stop it. So it's the same disease. It's just that you can see my disease, but a lot of these other folks, anorexia, you can't see their disease.
I agree with you 100%, but something else I want to bring to the forefront. And I always go to my homelessness, my homeless people and children and the people who people
Sure.
look down on, that the have and the have nots. But there is another myth to this thing. I can see Wayne. Wayne is my brother, and I see Wayne. Okay, Wayne was that addict. Even during the time Wayne was the addict, I see Wayne. Wayne is a addict. Now I go on the streets and I see my homeless people. They're addicted and they're self-medicating. And not only that, they're spiraling in that black hole, they have to deal with being homeless out there on the streets. And I think a lot of the misconception comes in, leave that up, Kenny, because I want to talk about that. A lot of the misconception comes in as we will see somebody like Wayne who, has have a mediocre income versus, people on that high end, your doctors, your lawyers, your congressmen, your people in offices, a lot of these people are on drugs, but they're functioning. And I said all that to say this, and correct me if I'm wrong. During the time when you was going through your stints in and out, Wayne was a functioning addict.
That's
Correct me
correct.
if I'm wrong.
That's correct. Let me tell you something. The only time I never had a job was if I didn't want a job. I was making,
Hmm.
I was a full blown addict. And way back when it was a big deal, American Express offered me the gold card. And I was using, I was getting ripped. Let me tell you something. I was not a daily user. I wasn't the guy walking through the park passing off. I went out to areas here, like let's say Anna Maria Island, which is worldwide renowned for the luxurious living that's afforded out there. But I sometimes went out there to deliver drugs or to do them myself with wealthy people. I'm talking about millionaires. So, I have come into contact with those kind of people, but I was what you call a binger. I didn't use every day, but trust me, when I used, it was no different than the person that used every day. Addiction is addiction, no matter what the face of it is. Some people think they say, well, I only do it on the weekends. It doesn't matter. It's not how much you do it when you do it, it's what happens when you do it. Listen, we like to
Hmm.
say that when I use, I break out in handcuffs. So that's what some people, we say that. But let me just tell you something. Let me tell you something. This thing took me on a journey into depravity and delusional antisocial behavior. Um, you know, my parents didn't raise me to be what I became. I made uninformed choices along the way. And I was in college. I dropped out. I was pursuing a degree in accounting at SUNY, New York. And then even down here in where I live, I was pursuing electronic engineering technology degree. So I have multiple opportunities. Just the person that you see out there on the street is just one vision of what addiction is.
Hmm.
There's so many different views and different things of addiction. I'm going to glance at my notes briefly because there is something that I really want to point out something to you. You know, Addiction is a disease. You know, and think of that word, dis-ease. Dis meaning not, ease, not at ease. So something in your system is not at ease. It's a disease. And once we cross that invisible
Mm.
line, see, you don't know if it's the 100th beer, the first beer, or the first hit of that drug, or whatever that's going to be the one. Because at some point, if you're like me, you cross that invisible line and you probably didn't even realize you had crossed it. You won't realize it until one day you try to function without that thing. And guess what? Your body will let you know, hey, something's missing. I need this thing. I'm
Wow.
not going to be able to function. And you don't know when did this happen? When did I have to have this thing? It's not a
Hmm.
thing that, and some people like they have some substances now. You use it one time and you're hooked
Yeah.
if you survive the first use.
Ooh, so hold right there because that leads back into this. Felicia says, I am a child of now deceased recovered addicts. I lived through growing up in a deep environment. How do you talk to your adult kids and grandkids? That's a question. How do you, because you're talking about crossing that line. How do you talk to your adult kids and your grandkids? And the second part to that is many of us are still in secret. What advice can you give?
Well, that's excellent questions, both of them. Well, the first one I'll share is it takes a lot of courage. I have four boys that were with me during that period of my life, and three of them lived in the house. And the way I approach it is, listen, my story is my story. Um, I love them more than I needed to keep a secret. And what I mean by that is, it was more important to me to expose this disease than to try to cover up for the guilt, shame, and remorse that I felt when I was in active addiction. So I told my boys the brutal truth. I didn't give them a blow by blow description. I didn't tell them about the promiscuity, about the details of exactly what I did. But I told them the facts. I'm an ACOA. That's an adult child of an alcoholic. And I don't want to throw my dad out there like that. But my dad, well, he exhibited some of the behaviors that I did, and I don't want to get too technical, but in rehab they'll tell you if you're a male adult child of an alcoholic, that's what an ACOH is. Your chances of becoming an alcoholic or an addict is extremely high. I forget the exact number. So to me, I mean, here I was an addict, and I felt like practicing that unconditional love for my children, it was important for me to tell them the truth. I mean, I was a little afraid they may look at me a little differently, but you kind of believe that somewhere inside they know something's not right with dad. I mean, children usually know more than what we think they know, and
That's
so I
true.
just had that conversation with them and I just told them the brutal. And what was that second question?
It was many of us are still in secret. What advice can you give?
Well, I'll tell you what, you may not be as deeply in secret as you think you are. I don't know the individual situation, but we say pain shared is pain lessened. Usually I kept secrets because I thought that it was going to cause me or someone else some pain, or it was a painful thing that I didn't want anybody to know. But secrets die in the light of day. And during my step work with my sponsor, and I'll get into that, I told him everything. I told him things that I hadn't even shared with my wife. And do you know what? The things and the secrets that I thought that I would take with me to my grave, when my sponsor shared with me a certain step work, do you know that the things he told me, some of them were far worse than what I was afraid to share? And I felt like a sense of relief when I finally opened up and told someone everything, and I told about how it made me feel when I used. And even when you use, you have to stay high, because when you start coming down, you start thinking about everything you did, about the lie you told, about not seeing your kids for 2 or 3 days. What was I going to say to my wife? It's just getting high takes a
Wow.
lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work, getting high and keeping up the facade. You know what? I'm
Wow.
going to tell you what happened. One time, I mean, I lived in a neighborhood where we were the only African American family in that neighborhood. And
Wow.
one weekend, I went on a binge. I came home and there was some words with me and my then wife, and I said, I don't have to put up with this. I'm leaving. So I left and I spent the money that I had, which was my whole paycheck. And when everybody was asleep, I went to my own house and stole my own weed eater and lawnmower and jewelry. I can laugh about it now because that's insanity. I stole my own stuff. And a lot of people don't
I,
know that. No one in my family knows that. So listen,
you see how I looked at you when you said that, but you know the funny part about it is, I laughed when you said that, but this is a true story. I had a friend. She would go to work every day. She would do whatever she could to keep the family going because she had a husband that was an addict also. And
mhm.
I could remember her returning home one day, and her husband was sitting on the doorstep with his hand in his head. He was high as he could get. But when she asked him what he did all day, he said that he was helping some people move furniture. You know where he was moving the furniture from? He didn't even realize they were robbing him and he was helping them load the U-Haul truck. That's how high he was.
I can believe it. I can believe it. I can believe that.
And just knowing that that happened for real, I believe your story.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you something, Sister Renee. This disease causes you to be sexually, financially, and medically unresponsible.
Wow.
Financially, because the drug that I was doing requires a lot of capital.
Wow.
And I mean, I will tell you this, and I'm not proud of this, but one time, well, basically, I would use because I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. I would get hurt and
Self-medicating.
I would get frustrated. And sometimes, listen, I have gone 6, 7 years without using. But I was one of those people that I was a bench user because I didn't know how to deal with problems. I didn't have communication skills, and I had a lot of pent up anger. One time, I'm not going to say the words I said because they're not appropriate, but I used some
Mm-hmm.
choice words. And I said, you know what? I went straight to the bank and I got $5,000 from the bank. This is the truth. And it took me about a month, but I spent every dime of that $5,000. And
Wow.
what I spent it on was nothing to help my family. It was nothing positive. And you know what? After the 5,000 was gone, I still wanted more money. We say one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. If I pick up, I don't know when it's gonna end. The last time it was a year and a half. See, so I live a program of staying away from the first one. See, it's easy. If I don't put my
Mm-hmm.
right hand out or my left hand out to grab a substance to ingest it or put it in my body, then I don't have to worry about all the consequences and the things that happen after that. See, the thing is, I quit a lot of times, but I didn't know how to stay stopped. And the way you stay stopped is you don't reach out and grab it and put it in. And then there's other things. There's groups. There's 12-step groups. There's meetings. There's things you can go to, and they teach you how to successfully. You say you have to change. You got to change everything. They teach you how to implement positive changes and things in your life. At my worst, I went to sleep in my car one night. I had a Buick Saber. And I was parked on the side street and I had slept in that car for about a week because I was afraid to go home. And I woke up one
Wow.
morning and I forgot I was on my car and I had my first anxiety attack in that car. I had to throw the door open and jump out because I
Mm.
felt I was going to die. hmm This is a serious thing. Addiction is a life or death. Um, it's a life or death dilemma. But I was talking about the nature of disease. The time is coming when, we like to say that people think, oh, when you're an addict, you can't get redeemed. There's no redemption. Well, we talked about the disease and I talked about some of the things that created the addict that I became an active addiction. But you know what? As you see me today, like I said, I have 17 years, but how did I get those 17 years? I said I never would live in a halfway house. To me, that was like I still had pride and ego. See, and with pride and ego and recovery don't really mix. So I relapsed 2 or 3 times when I really thought I was ready. But there came a time when I
Mm-hmm.
had to do some things that I wasn't ready to do. We say, what will you do for your recovery? And most of us say, I'll do anything. We'll do anything until anything is required. Okay, so I reached,
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep right
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. So what happened is I finally got beaten into submission, and we say I surrendered to the disease. And we think about surrender, we think about an army in a war getting blasted, getting beat up, and then they throw the flag up and they're in shame. They've been defeated. But the way we look at surrender, the way people like me look at surrender is I surrender to achieve or acquire a better position. So, yeah, the disease beat me. The
Mm-hmm.
disease of addiction is undefeated. There is really never a real cure, but we can, if you think about cancer or diabetes, if we take our medication and eat right, we can put those things into submission. And it's the same thing with addiction. If I go to meetings, if I do the things that's suggested to me by people who have been there before me, then we can beat this thing. So what happened to me was I thought I was fully ready, but I wasn't really fully ready. So the last step that I had to do was I had to humble myself and go to a halfway house. And when I got to that halfway house, I had to give them my paycheck every Friday, uncashed.
Mm.
And then they would cash it for me. And every dime that I spent, I had to bring a receipt back. I had to, for food, they would take me shopping. I mean, I smoked cigarettes at that time, and I had to show where that money went. And at the time, some people were like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give enough. And you know what? And this was a white man. And as you can see, I'm far from white. So what happened was I had to put my trust in somebody that didn't look like me. But he had something that I needed. And they say, if you want what we have, you got to do what we do. So I gave that man my check every Friday, and they took me grocery shopping. They provided me with the cigarettes and stuff I needed, and they taught me about accountability. Because when you're in active addiction, you don't know anything about accountability anymore. You don't know anything about being responsible, about making good decisions. And so they started me on that path. Let me get a little bit of water here real quick.
Yes, and while you're doing that,
Hmm.
Lorna Green says, wow, you never know how people are dealing with life problems, but they are. So sad, but there is hope for everyone. You just got to get the right kind of help. Thank you, sir, for speaking out about it. You have helped a lot of people. And Wayne, I say that to you, and the reason I have you here is because you're an old man.
I'm only 26 backwards.
There's an inside joke with me and Kenny ourselves, but you're an old man. And when we look at the stuff that's happening on the streets today and the things that's happening with our young people. I just read an article last week where a fifth grader took some of those gummies or chewable or whatever
Oh
it
yeah.
was to
Oh yeah.
school.
The edibles.
And it affected 6 kids. These kids ended up going to the hospital. And when I hear you say you started at 18, what is the age for fifth graders? Say about 10, 11 years old.
Hmm.
And they already have that exposure to it. I mean, just think about what you said earlier. One time is not enough, and one time sometimes is too many. And people look at stuff like that and say, "Oh, it's from the earth, though, it's this, that, or whatever." But if you have that addictive, finish it for me, because you know what I'm gonna say.
You
You
have
said
that
it all the
addictive
time.
gene. If you have that gene
There
or
you
you're
go.
predisposed, then you're in for a world of trouble. world of hurt.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
Renee, in our society, well, they glamorize drug use, and alcohol is the most abused drug in the history of man. And let me tell you about
Mm-hmm.
alcohol. Alcohol addiction is so acute and so bad they tried to outlaw it. It was actually illegal, and you know what? They couldn't stop people from doing it. So the government figured out a way to make some money off of it, and they said we'll just make it legal, just like another substance that they just recently made legal. They was never going to be able to stop the American consumer from using those substances. So do you know that alcohol and common everyday sugar and heroin,
Mm-hmm.
when your body digests that, it all decomposes in its simplest form. It's all the same. Your body cannot tell the difference between heroin and everyday sugar. And what you're really addicted to in the alcohol is the sugar. Yeah.
Just like
Acute.
people becoming addicted to Pepsis or Cokes or
Yeah.
Mountain
Yeah.
Dews or
Yeah.
okay, I get it. Okay, I get
Mhm.
it. I can believe that. I'm gonna do some research, but I can believe that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
my biggest concern now is, the children because these kids they're getting this stuff off of the streets and everywhere else. And you were one of the lucky ones where, I mean, you was able to get high and you still here and you're here to tell your story and you're here to try to help others. But from some of the stuff that I'm reading and some of the things that I
Mhm.
see in the news, these people are getting stuff that's laced, with
Yeah.
this opioid thing that's going
Fentanyl.
on, they're just dropping dead in the street. And one more thing I want to say about that, and I'm gonna let you back in here. See, during the time when you were an addict and crack and stuff was in the hood, it was just, they just thugs, they just, the N word, they just this, they that. But see, now you got these folks out in the suburbs where they little children are getting hold to this stuff. Now they want to say it's an epidemic. It's been an epidemic a long time ago.
And let me tell you something. When when the rich folks' daughters started coming into the hood looking for that drug, all of a sudden crack became a national emergency. As long as the poor and underprivileged neighborhoods were being destroyed by it, nobody cared. Let me tell you something. I have been in what we call the island down here. I have been on the island at 4 in the morning, and I've seen the Jaguars, and I've seen the Corvettes, I've seen the Mercedes and the Beamers roll up in the hood looking for what they couldn't
Mm-hmm.
get in their neighborhood. And when that started happening, all of a sudden it became a national emergency to put a stop to this crack epidemic
Mm-hmm.
going on at
Because
that
see,
time.
it's not a race thing.
Mm-mm.
Let's get that correct. It's not a race thing.
Mhm.
It's the have and the have nots. The
Nuts. There
have
you go.
nots are the ones who get sent to jail, get sent to prison,
Yep.
and the haves over here just find some old have nots,
Yep. Yep.
and just keep it moving
That's right. That is
because it knows
exactly right.
no race, gender, or status.
That's right. Listen, the disease don't discriminate. It doesn't care what your sexual preference is, whether you're male, female, rich, poor. The disease of addiction does not discriminate. It does not care who you are, where you from, how fat, how skinny, how long your hair is, how short it is. It does not care. The disease of addiction is an equal opportunity life destroyer. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm gonna share something with you, and I was debating if I should even share this. Our baby brother Todd, when he passed away, right before he passed away, about a month before that, I moved in with him because my marriage had completely fallen apart and I was doing what I was doing. And Todd was loved me enough to give me a place to stay because I was spending every dime I had on the substance and my girlfriend at that time. Well, I saw Todd that Friday night, and he was cooking some chicken wings. And of course, when you're doing the substance I was doing, you really don't have an appetite. So
Wow.
the big Wayne you see now, I had gone down to pay maybe 195 or something like that. I don't know. But I saw Todd and he was in there cooking the wings. And I said, hey, bro, I'm going to make a run. I'll be back probably tomorrow, whenever. 3 days later, our sister found me at the gas station gassing up. I was on a run and the run wasn't over. And she broke down and told me that my baby brother was dead. At
Wow.
the time that my baby brother died, it took them 3 days to find me, and I lived with him. So I carried that with me. There's a reason that the higher power has spared Wayne. He was 29. I'm 62. I did enough drugs to where I could probably kill two or three people should be dead. You say, why am I here? And I'm here because the higher power has a purpose, and this is part of it right here. He wants me to get out here and tell my truth. I'm not ashamed to tell people that that's my story. That was my pain. I don't feel any shame right now. I have a prominent position in an R&D company. I make good money. My wife has a master's degree. So I'm blessed. That's not the most important thing in my life. What's important is I have to give back what was freely given to me. There is an answer. The tired old lie, once an addict, always an addict, is not acceptable anymore. Because we used to think that once a person became an addict, there's no path back. Well, there's a path back.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to want it and be willing to do the work. And as far as our young people, unfortunately, this lifestyle has been glamorized so much in the music and in the movies and the various
Yeah.
things that we see on TV. And some of us older guys are sending the wrong message to the younger guys. We're not telling them the truth.
Right.
And so what happens is through misinformation, young people make uninformed decisions. And just like me, I thought, oh, that would never happen to me. I'm too smart for that. I know how to do this. And you know what? One day I crossed the invisible line. Why not me?
Oh God, right there. That was a hit right there. You know, I've had this conversation with several people over the years and still do sometimes. And sometimes we'll get into a conversation and it's like, is this, that, or whatever. But I've always told my children, anything that happened to anybody else can happen to you. And some of us were just fortunate that we did not go down that road in that direction. I think I was like maybe 17 years old the first time I knew what weed tasted like. And with only two puffs, let me tell you something, that thing gave me a migraine headache for 2 days.
Good
So I know I didn't want anymore. And I was like,
for
I was
you.
blessed that that happened because, like you said, it could have went the other direction. Also, where you just love it so much, but it did. It gave me one time, and it gave me a migraine headache so bad it lasted for 2 days, and I was like, I don't want no more of that. And
Hmm.
then as I got older, with you being my brother, and just seeing some of the things you went through, it
Oh
was
yeah.
like, yeah, no, that's not a road that I want to go down, even with all the love that I have for you. Sometimes just seeing things around you can make you not want to get involved in that.
That's
Or
right.
sometimes you could be drawn into that. So there's always two sides to that. And Xavier Reese, thank you, honey. I appreciate it. And Wayne, you know what? We're gonna let you give your closing. Wait a minute. But we could have all gone down that road and somebody must have given you some garbage, Miss Renee. Don't post this, Kenny. You got it up there, honey. I read it. But anyway, Miss Felicia, we'll talk about that later. But Wayne, you know what? This conversation is so great and so awesome, and I know we could go on forever. But
We got to
I
bring
just
them back.
appreciate. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I appreciate you so much, and you being my brother. I love you, but I love you even more for your honesty.
Well,
You know, and I appreciate that in you. And hey,
And
we're gonna be talking to you because I got an idea, Kenny and Felicia.
I
Yeah,
gotta
Wayne, we're gonna bring you back. Go
I
ahead,
gotta
Kenny.
yeah,
um,
I just want to tell him too, Wayne. You've been that big brother to us. That's all we've ever known is you as our big brother, man. You showed us a lot, taught us a lot, and guided us in things that you've already went through to keep us from. So
Yeah,
thank you for being who you are, bro. I'm always love you, always respect you. And like I always tell you, you are the most resilient person I've ever met in my life, dude. Your
I
resilience
try.
is
yeah.
unconquerable. You are.
I try.
And it's not, I wanna also say, remember, it's not the things that you did and the things that you went through that determined who you are. Those things do not determine who you are.
Yep.
You are a awesome person. You are a great person. And y'all,
Mm.
this is my big brother. You know what? He always support what I do. He was one that bought me a couple of these dolls back here, y'all, cause it was woo. But
Hey,
and he
Renee.
do, and even though I used to get mad with you when you ran me and Jackie home from the Ace of Spade
Ran
Club in New
Rock.
York. No, he ain't used to bother us at Ran Rock. We go over to Ace of Spade. He go, time y'all go home. My sisters ain't gonna be up in here. Well, you in the club? How you gonna run us home? But you know, I appreciate that today because you was always that big brother that looked out. Even though you did the things that you did, you protected us. You protected us from those things. So
Jackie's on.
you know, yeah.
Hey,
Jackie's on YouTube,
can I say
right?
a couple things? Can
Yeah,
I say
go
a
ahead.
couple things? Okay, listen. Now we have to balance this thing out. Now I spent a lot of times today talking about the nature of the disease, but I didn't
Hmm.
even get to tell y'all about the blessing. The upside is we do recover. So I have to come back and spend just as much time talking about how I've been blessed and talking
Wow.
about going from a guy that turned his back on God and didn't believe him anymore, but found him through a special 12-step program. I don't know if I can say it, so I won't say it because it may be, we believe in anonymity. They may not want me to publicly, but there's help out there. And I you know I have to, I have two phones. I have to think about if I want to put my number out there to try to steer some people to I may have to get with Kenny to establish another hotline
Yeah, we can
to
do that.
direct people to
We
some
can do that.
resources,
Yep.
because there is a national hotline. And
And
I'll
yes,
see
we
if
can
we can
do
have that hotline released to Grandma Polly.
Okay, we can do that.
we can do that. And Wayne, we're looking at Florida dates, and we're gonna get with Miss Felicia and all that stuff because you know I do the round table with the bullying and all that stuff.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would be great to have you come in and host a session on recovery or this, that, or whatever. But we will work out the details, and
Hey,
I'm just
they
going to
tried.
put you.
They tried to bully me, but it didn't work.
You so funny.
I'm the
I'm
bully.
just gonna let you give your closing words
Mm.
because we are going to bring you back.
How about next week?
Yeah,
We'll talk about it.
Next
We'll talk
Thursday?
about it.
Are you,
whatever.
He's working there. He's getting ready to go on 12-hour shifts for 7 days or
Yeah, I'm going
something,
on
but we'll
12.
talk about it.
oh, okay.
So, Wayne, can you give us your closing words, my brother? I love you.
Yes, yes, I love both of y'all. And let me tell you something. If you're an addict like me, I mean, I'm a bone marrow, dyed in the wool, true and blue addict who just happens to be blessed with recovery. Just hold on to this thought. Help is available. You know, that tired old lie. We like to say the tired old lie. Once an addict, always an addict. It will no longer has to be accepted by you. Society is turning its back on that. If you need help, call your local NA hotline. I'll just put it out there. Every
Yeah.
city, NA worldwide, call the NA hotline and ask for help.
Mm. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. So I just thank you, my brother. And now we got to thank some sponsors, Kenny, because without our sponsors, we would not be able to do what we do.
That is right. We got to thank our sponsors.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's coming in.
Grandma Polly and the Big Rig Kids would love to recognize and thank our sponsors for their generous support of the Big Rig Kids organization. Simone Enterprises and Entertainment Company, KJ Multimedia Solutions, and TNT, your special agents real estate team.
And once again, thanking our sponsors. I also have to thank my manager, Miss Felicia Simone, and my brother Ken Thompson, my producer. You guys are awesome. And Queen Patricia Cox Lennon of the Gullah community, the Gullah tribe. We appreciate you. And last but y'all definitely not least, because without you guys, we would not be here. Also, all our guests who has tuned in tonight, we thank you for your comments. We thank you for sharing all of those things. And don't forget, if you have not shared, go ahead and share this again, because you could go back and rewatch it. I know I am. This
Definitely.
was interesting and this was powerful. Oh, and Jackie, I see that you're out there watching, girl. Deuces.
Love you, Jackie.
Um, love you,
Love you, baby.
Jackie. It's a family reunion up in here tonight. You know, yeah. And I saw my cousin Michelle Wayne. Michelle said she loved you, and that's it. We're gonna go ahead and close out, and
Wayne,
like
stay
Grandma
on.
Polly always say, yeah, like Grandma Polly always say, I love y'all. Peace out.